Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome as you are coming in today. Um, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, I'm off camera. Every time I turn it on, I'm upside down and then I disappear. So I'm going to be off camera today. But you'll still be able to see everyone else's lovely faces. So today we are going to be joined by Mary Rachel Kevel from the Institute of Veterans and Military Families. And so we'll open up with our land acknowledgement. Could you advance the slide, Joseph? Thank you. Okay. The New Mexico Alliance of Health Councils gives sincere gratitude for the opportunity to live and work here on ancestral and unceded lands that have been cared for by our state's original peoples of the Apache Nations, Pueblos, and the Navajo Nation. We honor and respect the indigenous cultures, traditions, and their rich traditions that continue to shape New Mexico. Together, we acknowledge the history and impact of genocide, dispossession, colonization, and ongoing systemic inequities on Indigenous communities. As a collective, we commit ourselves to working towards justice and reconciliation, dismantling inequitable systems, standing in solidarity with and respecting relationships with Indigenous peoples. The Alliance affirms Indigenous sovereignty, self-determination, and self-governance of New Mexico's tribes, pueblos, and nations. In offering this land acknowledgement, we encourage you all to reflect on your own relationships to the traditional lands and take concrete actions to dismantle systems of oppression where Indigenous peoples are empowered and celebrated. So again, thank you to everyone who is joining us. You can feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. If any questions come up, feel free to raise your hand or type it in the chat. I'll keep an eye on all of that. And now I will turn it over to the wonderful Valeria for all of our updates and announcements.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Sam. Valeria Alarcón here, Executive Director at the New Mexico Alliance of Health Councils in service of all 33 counties and currently 10 tribal health councils. And we're just popping in here very quickly. We've got Joseph Hill as well, who's the Health Council and Public Health Specialist. You'll see him in one of the Alliance logos. We have some timely updates, my dear friends. Some exciting news about the upcoming 2026 statewide meeting, which, as a lot of health councils know, is curated with and in service of county and tribal health councils. So that kickoff planning meeting is going to take place next Tuesday, and we would love to have you join us. The statewide meeting, we heard from a lot of you health councils who want to potentially have a 2-day convening. So we'll dive into what is possible for the upcoming year. The Public Health Day, which is another public health sector convening, which also centers the work of county and tribal health councils during the legislative session, has been confirmed for January 28th, which falls on a Wednesday. So we're really excited to start the curation of both of these annual public health sector convenings, and of course the statewide meeting being the one time where all county and tribal health councils get to come together, center the work, their accomplishments, network, explore alignment, collaborative opportunities, knowledge sharing, and obviously have the opportunity to network with other public health state partners at the state level and at the community level. So mark your calendars, health councils. Next Tuesday, you probably see an invite in your inbox or in your calendar already popping up. Joseph, you feel up for giving a little update on the membership agreement? Let me know.
Sure. Yes, please make sure that you review the membership agreements. This formalizes our relationship and helps us continue doing the work that we do. It also gives us permission to include you on the study that we're doing with UNM that displays the return on investment. So when we present to legislators and we say that health councils are valuable across our state, we can actually show them that if you put a certain amount into health councils, you're going to get a certain amount back, which is a great thing for our elected officials to not only understand for themselves, but it's also great for you to be able to show for grant writing or working with other partners as well. So you've probably all received multiple emails from me or maybe even a phone call. If you have any questions about it, please reach out and we're happy to give any more picture for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Absolutely. That return investment study has been a goal of the Alliance, along with our board, it's also made up of county and tribal health councils. In service of all of you, the last study was done there was one in 2011 and one in 2015. And this return on investment piece is twofold, is the quantitative, yielding of how much the state invests in health councils and what that return is, but also on a qualitative level and where health councils are moving the needle in serving communities, in improving population health, of course, in concert with our partner NMDOH and many other partners, both at the local and systems level. So this study is in service of you, in celebration of your work, and contextualizing the impact that health councils have in public health to our legislators, part of our advocacy efforts. And so at the heart of this membership agreement that Joseph noted is the advocacy work that the Alliance drives year-round in support of county and tribal health councils. I see some of our new health council coordinators here as well. Some of you may know or may not know that the funding for health councils was completely dropped in 2010. And so it's been an uphill process, right, to get optimal funding, state allocation, annual state allocation for health councils for some time. And last year, because we got to work together across counties and tribes and our community members and health councils partners and advocacy partners that the Alliance has been generating, we were able to enlist such a strong legislative support that the legislation included a one-time $3 million allocation in 2024 for the first time in 10 years, in over 10 years, my friend. So that was a testament to what happens when we get to work together, advocate for one another and together in service of our communities. And then this year at the 2025 legislative session, we were able to work with House Appropriations, enlisting their support to keep that $3 million, and then Senate Finance included another $1 million. So this marks the second year of a one-time allocation, this time of $4 million. And so the Alliance continues to work on educating our elected officials on the meaningful work that you all do. And of course, we work in partnership with DOH in getting all of the data around the impact that you're all driving. And so the advocacy piece is so central, and that return on investment study is so critical. So please, if you haven't had the opportunity to talk with your governing body, with your health council members about the membership agreement, we invite you to please do so. And Joseph, myself, Geraldine Antonio, tribal liaison at the Alliance, we are available to answer any questions that you may have about this membership agreement and the access that you have to all the core services that the Alliance provides to leverage you for success. And that includes technical assistance, professional development, networking opportunities, these annual convenings, and so forth. Health Council Talks, for example, right? And then, of course, as we're always advocating, in the center of this slide deck, which we'll share, obviously, is the link to the letter of support. Every year, we generate this call to action to our executive branch, our governor, lieutenant governor, our legislative body, to please prioritize the funding for county and tribal health council. So if you can grab that letter, sign it, join our call to action, share it with your members, and have community members amplify that advocacy effort will be incredibly, incredibly helpful. And so as part of our marketing and visibility public awareness campaign that we do to bring awareness to the good work of County and Tribal Health Council, spotlighting the work that you all do via social media, via the press, via our radio show called To Your Health on 103.7 FM. These are all the ways on this right-hand side, Health Council highlights all the ways that we get to center your work, celebrate your work, bring more visibility of the work that you're leading in your communities. So please, if you have partner testimonial, community member testimonials about the impact of the work that you do, send it our way, share it with us, and schedule a radio show with me. We get to then utilize that podcast from that radio interview as another way to amplify the work that you're leading. And then you can also use that podcast for your own community outreach, for your own marketing outreach in social media, newsletter, email campaigns, so on and so forth. Sam, Joseph, did I miss anything? I know we see a lot of health councils here in the room. I don't know if there's any questions or thoughts from Brenda, Dr. Morris. Yeah, I see Shay is in the room as well. Emma, I see you. We're so excited to kick off our planning for the statewide meeting. But anyways, any questions here before we continue? That's right, Shay. I can't wait as well. He's going to be one of our co-facilitators. He did such a great job last year.
I'll just say thank you to Brenda and Quay County for sending over a really wonderful testimonial to me last week that you will see out in the world. I think it's next week or the week after, so thank you.
Yes, thank you, Brenda. All righty. And we see Dr. Morris. Thank you for your kind sentiment. We're happy to be in service of you and everyone, Dr. Morris. Joyce, great to see you here. You'll be seeing some of your good work with Brenda also on our marketing campaign. All right. Joseph, you want to take this one? We're so excited to launch this training.
Sure, we're very much looking forward to you all joining us for our fundraising and federal grants training. This isn't just about how do you write a proposal for a federal grant, but also how do you find one. We're going to specifically take some time to talk about some of the federal changes that have taken place. Writing for a federal grant in 2024, it was different than writing for one in 2025. And so we'll go over all of those differences. So whether you've written for one before and you just want to get a view of the new landscape, or you're approaching it for the very first time, this training is designed to kind of help bring everybody up a level.
Thank you, Joseph. And this is one of the annual trainings that the Alliance provides during the fall season. One is obviously the fundraising, and given all the context around federal grants, Joseph has put a lot of thought and energy and research and very helpful guidelines and framework and resources to leverage you all for success. And then the second training that we usually provide in the fall season, usually in November, is the advocacy versus lobbying training. And you will see that coming your way. Registration invitations, we usually send them out on Mondays. The Alliance sends out a Health Council email announcing all the upcoming trainings, grant opportunities, resources, and so forth. And so we're going to give a very thorough overview of what constitutes advocating versus what constitutes lobbying, right? We're also going to have our legal counsel with us to go through the most recent executive order that was released, I think, just a month ago today, as to, very clear distinctions of federal grants not being utilized for any kind of, lobbying activities and so forth. So want to make sure we understand the distinctions between these two, advocacy elements and the lobbying pieces, but also understanding context of the current landscape. Where does the Alliance advocacy work fall? When do we actually do lobbying? And so forth. And this session will have a 30-day session. So we'll talk about also some of these calls to action that the Alliance sends out, like, signing a letter of support. That's advocacy. There's no bill number related to it. There's no legislation related to it. So we'll do a deep dive into all things advocacy versus lobbying. And that's going to take place, I believe, November 7th. So you'll see both of these announcements being sent out on the Monday's email. And it's all in service and in support of county and tribal health councils. All right, let's see what we've got next. Oh, beautiful. Well, it's with warm welcome to invite our dear presenter, Mary Rachel Cavill. Did I say that correctly? My apologies. Bilingual tongue here. Research and Evaluation Associate from the IVMF in Syracuse University. So welcome, Mary. We're so happy. Mary Rachel, we're so happy to have you with us today.
Thank you, Valeria. So thank you very much for having me. My name is Mary Rachel, as Valeria just said, and I am from the IVMF at Syracuse University. I'm just going to share my slides really quick, so please bear with me. Okay, hopefully you can all see this, and if not, somebody just wave your hand, Valeria. Oh, thank you, Valeria. Okay, so I'm very happy to have you guys here, and thank you for having me. So my goal for today is just to talk a little bit about a project that our institute has been doing in New Mexico for the better part of the last few years, and to give you guys an opportunity to hear what we're doing, ask some questions, and just generally be apprised of our goals for this project, and hopefully maybe solicit some ideas from you guys if they come to you. But mostly this is just meant to be very informative. So I will get started, and I'll try to keep it short and sweet and out of respect for your time, if the slides work. So I'll just talk very briefly about who the IVMF is, what we do, the work we did in the past few years in New Mexico, and then the most recent phase of our project that has been going on for during 2025, our vision for next steps, and then I would very much welcome questions or feedback if you have them. So very briefly, the Daniela Institute for Veterans and Military Families at Syracuse University. We are a institute. We are within Syracuse University in New York State, which is a world-class R1 research institute or university, and we have the great privilege of being able to do our work on this campus and in this building that you see on the screen here. It's very beautiful. If you're ever in Syracuse, I highly encourage you guys to come check it out. We will give you the grand tour. Our mission is to empower service members, veterans, and their families through actionable research, innovative programs, and insightful analytics. We've been in business since 2011 and have helped well over 200,000 transitioning service members, veterans, and their families through our programs. We have a wide reach of programming, from entrepreneurship programs that help veterans start their own businesses, employment programs that help them train up and upskill in the latest industries. We also have a backbone research team that generates insightful analytics and information about the veteran and military community, as well as supporting organizations that do work in the communities on the ground for veterans, military families, and the communities that they touch. We have the backing of our—
No worries, but thank you for everybody's patience and welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right, well, I will just move on from here, but just the long and short of it is that our goal is to help support veterans and their families and the military community at large here. And we try to do this work all over the country, even though we are ensconced up in upstate New York. So phase one of our landscape assessment. So we were invited a few years ago at the behest of the New Mexico State Legislature to start exploring how veteran services and engaging the veteran military community in services could be changed or improved in New Mexico. So our first move was to start by trying to understand what veteran services looked like in the state. And to that end, we started and with the idea of potentially implementing a statewide coordinated care model to serve the state's veterans and military families. But we, acknowledging that even though our team has a lot of experience in, developing coordinated care networks and trying to bring organizations together that serve veterans and help them work together in an efficient manner, we are also not the experts when it comes to how veterans are served in New Mexico. We are not the experts of that. You guys are the experts. And so with that in mind, we went out and we talked to service providers all across the state, or as far across the state as we could reasonably manage in a week. We put out a survey. We went out to the state and did some focus groups, a week-long roadshow. We traveled around and talked to as many providers as we could about what challenges they were facing in rendering services to veterans and military families, challenges they were facing in collaborating with fellow organizations in their communities within the general realm of veteran services, and how they thought care and collaboration could be improved in New Mexico. We also did some secondary data work to understand the veteran demographics, socioeconomic information, tried to take care to ensure that we accessed urban, rural, indigenous communities in our work as best as we could, though it was never perfect, and we kept striving to improve that access. And then with all that information, we analyzed and compiled some detailed findings on the landscape assessment and created recommendations to pass back on how New Mexico could implement coordinated care if it was a model that the state could benefit from. And with that, we also provided a scoping document for phase two that would build on the recommendations of the assessment. And then we took the report out again and engaged with those same stakeholders as well as others to share our findings and recommendations. We, very briefly, we tried to get as many people as we could by breaking the state down into what we believe were generally accepted regions of the state. Used information from the IRS, from many different resource directories in the state, and through word of mouth and recommendations from people that we got in touch with in order to try to access as many organizations. And in the end, we spoke with 75 individuals and from 41 organizations through our work. We also did some surveying and a few interviews just for some more intensive conversations at a little bit more of a bird's eye view. So our key findings from this phase one assessment was that veterans serving organizations felt that coordinated care would be a value to the New Mexico veteran community. However, there are unique factors that include the rurality of New Mexico and the way that resources are concentrated and distributed based on that rurality, which means there could be value for coordinated care for veterans and helping to make sure that they can access those resources. During the sessions, we got a lot of questions about how this kind of network model would be led, how implementation would be phased in, how would it support it, where would the money come from, how it would be sustained over many years. And that spoke to us and told us that we needed a second phase for community design and planning that was again driven by service providers. And of course, that any implementation had to include transparent communication and ongoing data collection and sharing to inform the growth of the collaborative. So just a quick summary of our recommendations that we passed back. We wanted to implement a community design and planning phase in order to create the best possible model with the most buy-in, where we would hold listening sessions with community stakeholders, involve some key institutional stakeholders, and then ultimately develop a roadmap for implementation of collaborative models. We also recommended using data to address shortages in services. So acknowledging the right and left limits of what coordinated care can do in a given area, helping people understand gaps in services, where people have strengths, where people have shortcomings, and using that to help each other address those gaps and start to bridge them. And then also creating data sharing pathways in order for that data to be able to be a excellent vehicle for working together. So these were our recommendations, very high level. And I'll have a link at the end to our project website where we have the full report linked there, and you are more than welcome to read through it. And if you ever have thoughts, you can reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. So with all that in mind, we are now in our phase 2 community design and planning part of our project. So this has been going on. We started planning and scoping this out late last year. And then about May of this year, we went out again to New Mexico, did a very similar week-long roadshow of going around to different areas of the state, holding more focus groups. But the intention this time was less about understanding the needs and the landscape of veteran services, because we already had a good understanding of that from phase 1, but instead putting the question to organizations about what this kind of model should look like and what would it take for it to be successful. So so on the surface it looked very similar, but we had a very different intention going in. So again, we did listening sessions. We had some key institutional stakeholders that we engaged with more deeply to get their bird's eye view on things. We worked again with the state legislature. We worked with DVS, the VA, Veteran and Military Families Caucus, key state legislators, and other groups. But we also, like I said, we talked to community organizations who are working in more local and regionalized ways, and really just tried to hear everything that they needed in order to make something like this work in their areas. So we are currently in the phase of synthesizing all that feedback that we've collected to develop an implementation plan for coordinated care in the state of New Mexico. So we're currently, as we speak, analyzing that data. Our goal is to take that analyzed data, write up a implementation roadmap with a short companion report of our findings, and then we will pass that back to the New Mexico State Legislature, as well as any other interested parties that we engaged with along the way to help inform their next steps on implementation. So we're hoping that this will help start to seed and grow that work for coordinated care. In the report, we want to develop an implementation plan, identify key phases for timeline and activities. We'll support it with our high-level findings, and then we'll build an engagement strategy in order to be able to share out the findings and start to build more buy-in for this solution. So just for some context, for this second round of focus groups, we went out to these locations as well as held a few virtual ones, try to cover the gaps in places that we simply could not get to. We heard a lot of feedback even while we were on the road about places that we just plain old missed. And unfortunately, our team is small but mighty, so we couldn't get all the way out to places like Silver City, regretfully. But we tried to cover as much of the state as we could. We ended up with 12 focus group sessions, engaged 37 organizations with 72 participants, which I was very, very glad that people showed up and showed out for this. So that was a lot of talking from me. If you have any questions or you need any clarification, I would be happy to hear from that. But I also want to thank you very much for your time and for letting me talk with you guys. And if you are interested, this QR code takes us to your project, takes you to the project website, or there's a link at the bottom, and I'll put that in the chat. And it has all our information about the project, our phase 1 report, when phase 2 is ready. And we'll start to put that out there as well. If you have more questions, our team lead is Vincent Del Signor. Some of you may already know him from prior engagements, but you can reach out to him with any other questions. But I will happily take any questions or discussion points that you have now.
Thank you, Mary Rachel. This is such an informative presentation. We've got some folks who are rejoining, but wondering in the communities that you were able to engage with, and I hear you, small but mighty team. I can only imagine all the work that's gone into this. Tribes, nations, and pueblos in New Mexico. Has there been involvement, representation, engagement with the community piece?
Yeah, so that was something that we were really trying very hard to do in our planning for phase 2. We didn't get to access Native tribes that much in phase 1, and that was a big shortcoming of our phase 1 report. We are incredibly conscious of that, and so in phase 2, we were trying very hard to identify organizations and lead in tribal leaders who would engage with us, but we were also very conscious of not putting ourselves in a I'm not saying this very well. It is a little late here on, we've had a busy week, so forgive me for my stuttering, but we try to not impose ourselves on them, but we wanted to try to engage with them. So our director tried to reach out with them. We made some connections with different tribal leaders across the state for briefings. So we've gotten some of our work out to them as well. We had a couple, we did have some folks come and attend our sessions that were more in the north parts of the state, which is really great. I honestly can say I wish we had more engagement, but also recognizing that it's difficult. And we might not, our approach wasn't the best. But that being said, we are always really open to hearing more from tribal leadership and the organizations that support them. So truly, like, seriously, if you have things to say to us, you want to engage more with us, we would be really happy to talk with you. Like, please shoot us an email. Like, we really do mean that. Like, yeah. Any other questions? Can I clarify that a little more?
Thank you for that. And you've got some comments in the
Oh
chat.
yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah, so there's some engagement points there from Shay, eager to connect
Okay,
with you for their upcoming health fair. And I know there's a
yeah.
lot of county and tribal health councils who do serve and support our veteran population in New Mexico. And so if there's alignment around there, obviously your voice is so critical to this. And Mary Rachel, this is going to be submitted to LFC, or is it submitted to which committee? Like the study results, if you will.
I don't remember which committee. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember which committee. We were brought in by the legislature, so I don't know which specific committee this is going to go to in the end, but if you don't mind, I can ask Vincent and get back and email you an answer back if that's okay.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
First time.
Yes, and Shay, so I'm taking down your email, I'm taking notes, I'm taking down your email, and I'll pass your email on to our team lead as well. And have him reach out to you. And Carolyn, yes, and yes, so Carolyn, we did try to also talk to the Indian Affairs head to at DVS to try to get her to help generate buy-in from tribal leaders as well. So, but your point is well taken. I will make sure that we will try to work with them more directly. Any other thoughts, feedback, discussion points?
I would like to have a copy of your, whatever you presented. This is Dr. Morris, and also, in our community, we work directly with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we have a tribal liaison that comes to our community that does lunch and learn. And we do have, and when you're doing research within tribal communities, you have to go through a different process, and that is probably something that you and your organization need to know about. And we do have veterans groups within various communities on Navajo, and I'm sure with other Pueblo communities as well. So
Yeah.
it's good to talk to the right person, because if you don't, then you won't have any of the Native Americans on in your study or
Yeah.
research that you're doing. Yes.
Yeah, no, totally heard. And yeah, even more than just having them in our findings, we want to involve them in the next steps of this project, because that buy-in is really important, especially given the, like, you probably know better than I do how well represented Native Americans and people from the tribes are in the veteran population. And so missing them in whatever model that we ultimately recommend would be a huge oversight. So yes, yeah, so yeah, if you guys don't mind sharing these slides out, that would be very great. And then Dr. Morris, if you don't mind sharing your email, might like to talk to you even more about that if you don't mind connecting, but no pressure.
Yeah, I can put it on the my email on the MCD.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, cool. Thank you. I see your email in the chat. I'll copy that down. Okay, well, thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate your time. And I will.
Can I say something? I think Geraldine would be a great asset too. She's a tribal liaison for the Health Alliance. And she's a jewel that not many people have discovered, but she's awesome.
Geraldine, I think we actually have spoken with her a few times as well. So I do believe we've connected with Geraldine a couple of times. So that's awesome.
If I can give
Okay.
context to Dr. Morris, I know I did connect with the Institute, and part of my feedback was I didn't want to speak on behalf of any tribes
Yes.
and their challenges, specifically at the local level when it comes to veterans. So if you'd love to connect individually with them, I'd love to help coordinate that in any way possible.
Okay, that will be good, Geraldine. And there's other veterans organizations that are located throughout Big Navajo, and it's best that they talk for themselves. Yeah, we can just make those connections because they like to take ownership of their organizations. Yeah. Okay.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Mary Rachel. It's such an important study, and yes, as much as whatever we can do to increase that true representation of New Mexico. Given that we're such a diverse state, please, let's work together to do that. Looks like we're about 19 minutes to the hour, and I know we did a very, very quick announcement at the beginning of the Health Council talk about the alliances membership agreement. As you know, at the heart of the work that we do is advocating with and for county and tribal health councils, enlisting the support of our legislators, educating them on the great and meaningful and impactful work of county and tribal health councils and why it's so important to sustain the funding. And that membership agreement obviously continues to formalize our partnership. One of the things that Geraldine and I have been working on this year is engaging with our dear, dear friends and colleagues at UNM to conduct another return on investment study. The last one that was done on health councils was in 2015. And so part of that annual membership agreement for this year particularly is your consent to participate in the return on investment study, which, as you may know, is very central to the advocacy work that we do with legislators. Legislators are very eager, to understand in context the meaningful, impactful work of health councils, but also what is it yielding in terms of, okay, we invested $3 million and here's the return that we got, right? And the last study was, I think for every dollar invested was $2, and I'm sure it's a lot more now, given all the strides that you're all making across communities with the funding that the Alliance has been able to, together with our advocacy efforts with all of us, secure the last 2 years. And so on the advocacy side, we have some very timely updates. The Alliance is being called to present at the Legislative Health and Human Services Committee, I think in October. So reporting out on all the good work that you have accomplished for SFY 2025 with that first $3 million allocation from the last session. And also to the Legislative Indian Affairs Committee, also in October. So we're really, really excited to do that. And you'll probably see, we usually invite, obviously, health councils in that area where the next committee is going to be held. I think Legislative Health and Human Services is in Hobbs, New Mexico. And so what we usually like to do is have as many health councils in that area where the committee is being held join us. Because we're able to include a health council to give, their own testimony, their own context about the work that they're leading there, and having as many health councils and community members that can give public comment, because a lot of these committees, as you know, will endorse a funding request, which this is going to be a funding request that Representative Thompson and Representative Lujan will file come the legislative session. And as you know, this year's 2026 legislative session coming up is going to be a short one, and it's going to be a jam-packed one. And so our goal is to see if there's an opportunity to have it recurring. And so Legislative Lujan, as you know, has been a strong advocate, as well as Thompson and many, many others. We've built such strong legislative championing on your behalf. And I know a lot of you are also very involved with connecting with your district's representatives and district senators to educate them on the good work that you're leading. So be on the lookout. The Alliance usually sends out an email on Mondays with all things related to advocacy updates, training opportunities, technical assistance services that we provide, as well as professional development opportunities that are coming up. And Geraldine, anything else that you'd like to add? Anything I missed?
Not at this time. I guess there's no. I'll just pause there. I'm good, Val.
And then of course, Sam shared earlier where we have received confirmation for Public Health Day. The Legislative Services has confirmed January 28th for Public Health Day. It's a huge convening, as you all know, centering the work of health councils. And so we usually schedule the statewide meeting the day before. And I know a lot of health councils want a 2-day event. The Alliance has been working really fast to generate some sponsorship money to cover hotel, event cost, all of that. So we're kicking off our planning meetings starting next Tuesday. And what time is it at, Sam or Geraldine? I don't have all
It's
of
at
our
12 to 1.
12 to 1, my friends. And as you know, this is your convening in service of you, to center your work, to support the networking, to provide you with the professional development priorities that you need to leverage you for success. And it's co-hosted with Health Council coordinators. Last year was Kayla and Shay. And so it would be great to have as many of you Health Council coordinators to come be with us next Tuesday as we kick off this planning. Because as you know, this convening is curated with your direction, with your input, and with what's most important to you come this next 2026 statewide meeting. So I think I've, let's see, and Sam has included the calendar invite in the chat. You should see a invite in your inbox. We'll resend it on Monday with our Monday Health Council email. Any questions from our Health Council representation? Shay, Brenda, Margaret, so great to see you here. Gina.
Hi, Valeria. This is Margaret from Hidalgo County. I just want to say thank you again for all the great work you guys are doing, especially with all these changes that are happening. It's exhausting. It's scary. It's trying. And you guys, whatever you guys are putting on those brave faces for us. So I truly appreciate all the work that you and Geraldine and all the NMAHC is doing for us. So thank you again.
Thank you, Margaret. We're in this together, my friend. And that is something I'm glad you bring that up, because everyone, all of us, are navigating very unprecedented times in our communities. In a lot of ways, are under attack, in crises. In health councils are the lifeline of our communities. And the Alliance is the support system for all county and tribal health councils. And you've heard me say many, many times, we're stronger when we work together. And look what we've been able to accomplish together the last 2 years. And I know that a lot of what's going on across New Mexico or across our nation feels incredibly overwhelming. And something that we really focus within our team is to, as challenging as things are, to lean into collaboration, because that's one of our greatest strengths in New Mexico. We saw it during the pandemic, to lean into what is possible when we work together, to lean into what's, the optimism, to lean into being hopeful and being action driven. So wherever spaces we are, where we can make a difference, where we can link arms and take a stand and advocate, let's do that. And this is what is what is at the heart of the Alliance, right? In service of and in support of all of our communities across the state, because of all the work that all of you do every single day. And so we're deeply grateful. I can't imagine being in any other space than this space, especially during these times. So thank you, Margaret. And yeah, there's a lot of changes coming down the pike. The state of New Mexico has a federal stabilization subcommittee group that's looking at all the ways in which federal changes, federal funding cuts are impacting New Mexico public health sector, many different sectors. And they're going to be submitting recommendations to the Legislative Finance Committee. The Alliance has been advocating to that subcommittee, and we're looking to meet with the co-chairs and invite them to the November 12th Community Collaborative Forum, which is another way that we center the work of health councils, as you all know. So we're, keeping our ears and everything on the ground to make sure that on that legislative front, our elected officials know who you are, the meaningful work that you do, and the fact that that continued investment needs to be sustained, especially now more than ever. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And as another invitation, I'm always raving about health councils. If you haven't had an opportunity to be featured on a radio show that airs on 103.7. It's called To Your Health. There's also a podcast that's issued, which you can also utilize for your own community outreach. Please, I'm going to put my work number here where you can text me and let me know when you have availability to schedule your 1 hour radio interview. That's another body of work of the Alliance to bring visibility to the good work of County and Tribal Health Council statewide and bring more visibility, especially with our rural communities that don't often have visibility, our tribes, nations, and pueblos as well. So, and any other questions, feedback, reflections from health councils? Hopefully we're feeling jazzed about what's possible come the new session and coming together. I can't wait to see you all in person. Yes, Shay, I know he's scheduled. You're scheduled for next Wednesday. I'm super thrilled to have you. Absolutely. And these are not scripted, very conversational. You tell me what you feel really passionate about, what you want to bring attention to, what you want to share and highlight about your county or tribal health council. Beautiful. All righty. Well, let us know with a little digital thumbs up, or let us know if you're feeling complete for now, but know that the Alliance is here with you. Geraldine Antonio, Tribal Liaison, myself, Martha Munoz, our Sharon M. Navigator Specialist, and we have Sam and of course Joseph Hill. We're all here in support of all of you. Thank you so much for all the ways that you show up for communities, and be sure to take good care of yourselves as well.